What's up in War Eagle, everybody? You got Ike Jones. We are here inside of Lobtown. Auburn defeats North Alabama by the score of 102-69. Hopefully, everyone is having a good night. We'll do a little quick recap of what we saw in this game. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed it. Well, it was fun watching Auburn win. So, of course, Auburn wins 102-69 versus North Alabama. And listen, it was a game that was probably a little bit too close for a lot of fans' comfort early. But Auburn took care of business in the second half. North Alabama, listen, they scored 69 in this game. Nice. But 37 in the first half really probably was the thing that most folks were probably upset about because it got close. North Alabama actually took the lead a couple of times there in the first half, but once they kind of got back into it, Auburn really poured it on at the end of the first half, and then blew the lead wide open at the top of the second half to really take control of the game. High point man for the night is Janai Broome with 30 on 13 of 17 shooting. Then you had 17 boards from Janai. 13 of 17 shooting for 30 points, 17 boards for Janai Broome in 26 minutes of action. The next up would be Denver Jones with 13 points on 4 of 6 shooting. Very efficient night for Denver Jones. His shot was working for him tonight. He was 3 of 5 from 3 in his 28 minutes of work with 9 assists, 13 points and 9 assists for Denver Jones tonight. Wow. And then you have a couple of guys with 12, Chad Baker-Mazara, Miles Kelly, and Dylan Cardwell with 12 points all. But just the eye-popping numbers there for Denver Jones and Janai Broome with double-doubles, points and assists for Denver Jones, points and rebounds for Janai. 17 boards for Janai is crazy. But yeah, just a good game overall. And good to see some guys who don't get an opportunity to play a lot get in there and make some buckets there at the end to get Auburn over the century mark for the first time this season. If you're in here joining me here on Lobtown, make sure you are sharing the video with somebody. And go ahead and hit that thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to get over here to the comments section, see what you guys are buzzing about tonight. Appreciate everybody jumping in here with me late nights here as Auburn gets the job done versus North Alabama to advance to 4-0 on the season. Tim the Toolman says belt to ass. Indeed, it was. More damn Eagle from Richard Wentland. Loving this team. Jay Real says North Alabama new to D1. Yeah, new program in the D1 ranks. So definitely they felt the brunt of facing the number 4 team in the country, Auburn Tigers, because they did the darn thing. Ariel Hall Sr. says great all around win. Wardam definitely was. Just like KP, straight woodshed style. Yeah, second half, Auburn really kind of flexed their ability to clamp down defensively, right? The kid Lane, let's just talk about them for a minute. Actually, there was a couple of guys who I really liked what I saw from them out of North Alabama. The guy who came in with the most hype, their leading scorer, he had 16 on the night, was Lane. And he was shifty, able to get in there into the lane, finish amongst the trees. Step back jumper looked good. So, but second half, they just made it really difficult for him to even get touches, let alone get clean looks. But Susie and Ortiz were the guys that were making a lot of tough buckets for them. I liked what I saw from Ortiz. He's a good shooter. There in the first half, he had a couple of three three-pointers on the night in total. And then Susie with tough buckets in the lane for them. It could be Sousie. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the young man's name. But yes, a couple of good looking players for those teams. I always look to see what players perform really well against Auburn in these games because Bruce Pearl does a good job of using these as tryouts. And you might see one of those young men in an Auburn uniform the next season. So yeah, good job all around from Auburn, and definitely North Alabama is going to be team that's going to give some people some headaches out there. They play well defensively. They don't turn the ball over a lot, but they did have 13 turnovers tonight. Auburn gave them 11 right back, but not a ton of turnovers for them on the season. They protect the ball fairly well, but they play fairly well defensively also. So Auburn was a little late on some rotations and stuff in the first half. So you saw some open baskets there, and North Alabama took advantage of that. A little sloppy in the second half with some transition stuff, and North Alabama turned that back into some points off of turnovers. 11 points off of turnovers. I can remember a sequence where they had kind of two buckets back to back there in the second half off of some ill-advised advanced passes from some guards there from Auburn. But again, overall, a very solid day. Auburn wins the rebounding battle, 35-26 in this game. Points in the paint go in favor of Auburn, 40-50, 50 for Auburn, 40 for North Alabama. North Alabama has more points off of the bench, though. So Auburn's bench scoring wasn't really big, but that's when you're feeding Janai like that and he really gets going, you're going to see that be an imbalance in that way usually. Let's see here. What else we got? Going back over here to the comment section. Mike Davis says walk-ons are better than Aiden Holloway. I don't know who that is. So yeah, walk-ons better than non-existent people for sure. Jay Real says the walk-ons can shoot. They came out there ready to shoot. Muselec knocked one down, followed by the younger brother there of of Cardwell. No, it wasn't. It was Johnson that hit. Who was it that hit the other three? CJ Williams that hit the other one, right? Am I tripping? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, definitely some good shooting there from the walk-ons. Professor Vader says Dylan has improved a lot. He's worked a lot on his offensive game. I like the fact that he's looking for that shot in the lane. He's got quick second jump ability, right? And that's a really good for a rebounder where, he can put the shot up, but then he gets right back up if he misses it. Good second jump ability. I like that. Ephesians 2:8-9 says now time for Maui. Yes, we will definitely need to talk about that Maui trip coming up in a later show on Lobtown. So you guys make sure you stay tuned for that because they've got some tough competition in Iowa State. I think is the first game of that trip. Iowa State, a top 5 team, if I'm not mistaken, in the country right now. I think they are ranked number 5 in the country. So Iowa State going to be a tough test early in that one. And then also you get Dayton or North Carolina as the second half of that, depending upon, win, lose, or bracket that type thing out there. So going to be an interesting couple of games out there in Maui. Let's see here. Prentice Jones says, man, Broom was playing like an All-American tonight, and Miles' shooting form is chef's kiss. I agree. Miles Kelly off of the pin down screens. He is the kind of shooter that Auburn hasn't had in a while. One of those guys where he doesn't have to stand and wait on it. Like you can get him in motion. And if you give him an opportunity, as Bruce Pearl says, if he can see it, then he can knock it down. You give him a clear look at it. He's a guy who can really get hot and he can give you some clutch shot making from deep. Auburn hasn't had one of those guys in a while. He's not quite Bryce Brown-ish, but Bryce Brown is a guy that comes to mind where you can get him off of pin down screens in motion and he can just come off and fire. I think Bryce Brown's a better shooter. Miles Kelly's a better scorer overall, but I think Bryce Brown might be a better shooter. I don't know. Miles Kelly can shoot it, though. You know what I'm saying? So definitely love what Miles Kelly does with the ball in his hands out there. Jay Real says, how long you think Auburn can go undefeated? I don't know. Let's say this Maui trip is going to be tough. You got Duke when you come back off of that Maui trip. So you've got 3 really tough games coming up here. Against some teams that are good, right? And so, I wouldn't be surprised to see Auburn lose any of them, but Auburn can absolutely win all of them as well. So we shall see what happens there. Prentice James says Ortiz came from UAB. You can tell he's been at a D1 program. The kid can ball. Let's see here. Toolman asks, who do you even game plan for on this team as an opponent? Honestly, if I were defending Auburn I'd come out in an extended zone early. Come out in an extended zone early. That way, and why I say extended zone is because you want to force the middle zone touch from Janai slash Cheney to be higher than the free throw line, because if they get too deep on that touch, it's a pretty easy shot for both of them. I do an extended free throw. I do an extended zone, probably an inverted 2-3-3-2 type situation, 2-1-2, whatever you want to call it, or a 1-3-1 zone to push it up and then have a middle defender and hope they're not shooting the three well early, right? Or lull them into getting too comfortable with the three, because I think that's what happened early in this game. They started shooting the three well early, and then they started taking bad ones, ones that didn't necessarily come in the flow of the offense. So that's what I would do initially to try to get them out of rhythm, and then try to control pace on the opposite end by, really running a lot of clock, some really a lot of what they did in the motion action really bothered Auburn early, kind of get them off kilter. But I mean, really, there's not a single person that you say, hey, stop this guy, because everybody so far, if you talk to every opposing coach, I guarantee you they come in, and some of them have said it in their post game. Their plan was take Janai out of the game. Take Janai out of the game. Everybody comes in early and says, we're not going to let Janai Broome beat us, right? And the problem is that Auburn has the scores from the outside. I think Chad Baker has gotten Auburn off to quick starts in just about every game where people have said, take Janai out of the game, right? And so what ends up happening is you have to change your strategy. Okay, they're knocking shots down from the outside. We can't just double down on Janai, right? So we've got to try to do something else. And that's when Janai gets going, right? Because Auburn's done a good job of not being selfish with the basketball. And when they really need to get to a bucket and they've gone through those spells where they're shooting too many threes, they're like, okay, wait a minute, hold on. We forgot. We got Janai. And they start feeding him, and then he gets going. And now it's like, oh, crap, we got to take Janai away again. So you get it back out to the guards. It's a difficult team to game plan for. Auburn only takes themselves out of games when they start falling in love with the three-point shot and fall out of love with their ball movement. So when the offense gets stagnant or they start taking those early threes, they hurt themselves. But yeah, that's how I would at least attempt to start the game, is force the outside shot, extend the zone to try to make them take either longer contested threes or fall in love with the three-point shot a little bit early and take away the paint touches. But yeah, I don't know if it would work, because again, they do have shooters. Denver Jones, Janai Broome can step out and shoot it. Chaney Johnson can shoot the three, right? I mean, I don't have to tell y'all watch Auburn basketball, so you know that they can all shoot out there. See, James Barnett says this team has the potential to win a chip. Yes, it does. I mean, I think last year's team had the potential to win a chip. This is a better team than last year's team. Scoring wise, I think they're equivalent to, if not maybe a little bit better defensively as well. So yeah, definitely a championship caliber team. Let's see. James Moore says Williams and Patterson hit the threes. Thank you very much. Let's see. Robert Guy, this basketball team makes me happy. Yeah, early in the season, man, they're doing what they're supposed to do early, wiping teams out. They got the big win against Houston. Now they're going to get into the tougher portion of this non-con, and then we'll see what they do there. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. Maine says, unlike a guy when his shot wasn't falling, he got cooked on defense, but TP can play defense. Tahaad Pettiford is who you are referring to. Yeah. Let's see here. Ike, have you had a chance to look at any film on Idaho or watch a game yet? I have not looked at. Why would I look at Idaho film? Somebody hit me to that. Idaho State. No, I haven't. Does Auburn play Idaho State? I mean, yeah. Oh, you mean Iowa State? No, I have not looked at Iowa State's film at all yet. That will I'll probably try to go pull some film on them, and maybe Green Name Gang, y'all lock in with your boy. I'll try to get y'all some Iowa State stuff maybe before that game. Let's see. I don't see anyone in the SEC who is on our level. I have not watched the only teams I've watched play. I watched Kentucky play, and Kentucky's good. I watched Bama play, and they're They're up and down as Bama has been early in the season, just about every year. Watched a little bit of Arkansas play. They haven't put it together yet. Watched Florida play. Florida's about what they were last year. I think they actually offensively might be a little bit worse as far as outside shooting is concerned. They might be a little better defensively this year, and they're still as good on the boards. Texas A&M might have taken a step back offensively, which is weird to say because they weren't a great offensive team last year. See who else have I watched play. I have not had the opportunity to watch Texas or Oklahoma yet. Haven't watched Missouri at all yet. I watched a little bit of a South Carolina game, and nothing really stood out to me from that South Carolina team. Mississippi State is going to be decent again this year. They're always going to be really good defensively. Here's the thing: any team that can play well defensively has an opportunity in every single game. And Mississippi State is going to be a team that's going to bother you offensively, and then they're going to rebound well, right? Specifically on the offensive glass. And they have a dynamic scorer in Josh Hubbard. So, like, and again, as you saw early in the game with Lane, when you got a guy who can just go out there and heat it up, as Josh Hubbard is like a phenomenal scorer, you're going to have an opportunity in every game as well. But yeah, from top to bottom, I do think Auburn's one of the best teams in the country, not just in the conference, just because they come at you in waves, right? Like when you feel like you're doing well, your guy who is your guy has to be on for 40 minutes because the minute they come off of the floor or they get tired, Auburn still got another guy, right? And that's the beauty of having a team with this. If Auburn can stay out of foul trouble tonight, total personal fouls 12 on the game. Not a lot of whistles in this game in total. There were 14 called on them, 12 on Auburn. So 26 whistles in total in this game. And if Auburn can stay out of foul trouble, then Auburn's a really tough team to score against just because they defend so well. If they're defending without fouling, really tough team to score against. And when you can't score and you have a team that's coming at you in waves offensively, the way that this Auburn team has been able to do thus far, tough team to beat. Tough team to beat. And like they still didn't have great shooting nights from guys who had open looks, right? Tahaad Pettiford didn't have a great shoot. Tahaad Pettiford has good vision. Let's just talk about that for a second. Tahaad, sometimes he makes, the bad, and, I saw that the one advanced pass where he threw it ahead, I believe, to Dylan Cartwell is a little bit too much, trying to do too much on that one. I think he had another one. Let me see. Turnovers tonight for Tahaad was just had the one turnover. So his assist to turnover ratio has been good for the most majority of the season. I haven't looked at it on the season, but I wager to say he's about 2-1, maybe even 3-1 on the year. But he has really good vision. And he has good feel for Tahaad just has a good feel for the game. And, he doesn't really seem to take a lot of bad shots. Like even the shots that he misses, it feels like those are good shots for him to be able to take. He's a basketball player, man. And so I like what I see from Tahaad Pettiford. Definitely has good vision, good feel for the game. But didn't have a great shooting night, right? Like he shot 2 of 8 on the game tonight, 1 of 4 from 3. But I didn't feel like he took bad shots. And that's the thing. If you're not taking bad shots, eventually they'll fall because you just shoot them with confidence. So I like what I see from him so far this season. Still waiting on JP Pegues. Still feels as if he's trying to figure out his place. And this is the thing. If you guys remember last year early in the season, so people were calling me crazy last year early in the season when I said this, and I sound very Mike G when I say stuff like that. I tried to warn you guys. But early in the season last year, people, if you guys recall, some of you harken back in your brain to what you said about Denver Jones early in the year last year, about how, he was, a disappointment so far. When you go from being at a lower level school and being the guy, it's difficult for you to figure out how to be not the guy, right? Like you have to figure out other ways to contribute to the team. And I think JP is still trying to figure out where does he fit into this puzzle, because he's not the pure shooter / scorer like Miles Kelly. Like Miles doesn't have to figure out where he fits because he's here to be instant offense. right? He's here to come off of the bench, or now he's in the starting rotation, but he's at the school to shoot. He's here like, hey man, when you get the ball, go fill it up. They don't need JP Pegues to be that guy. They need him to be the guy to kind of be a consistent guy in there and run the offense. Tonight, his stat line was 1 of 3, so he only took 3 shots, but 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 0 turnovers. Like, that's a solid stat line. Like, he didn't do anything eye-popping, but he's there. Guys in foul trouble. I need someone who I can trust with the ball in their hands to make good decisions. That's who Pegues is for this team. And there's going to be a game where Auburn is going to need Pegues to come up with big buckets, and he's a guy who's just done that before in his career. He's just trying to find his way into this, where he fits in this puzzle. And his veteran leadership is going to be something that they're going to need at some point in time during the season. So I hope fans find a way to be patient with the fact that he's not just coming in lighting it up. He just needs to be solid. He doesn't have to give you 10, 15 points a game. What you really want a Pegues stat line to look like is efficiency, right? If he takes 5 shots, you want him to make 3. You want him to have a couple of assists, very low turnovers, not getting blown by defensively, right? Like, be solid. If you're going to be in there 15, 20 minutes per game, your plus minus probably needs to be about a plus. Let's just take a look and see what it is. He probably needs to be above a +6 most times. Pegues was a +7, right? So that's really what you want from a Pegues. You want him to be like a +6 while he's out there on the floor, because that means while he's out there, he's being more help to the team than he's hurting. Like, he doesn't have to score the points. He just doesn't need to hurt the team in those stretches when he's out there, and contribute by playing solid defense, making your open shots when they're available to you, and then finding open teammates. That's kind of what you want him to be the majority of the time he's there. And then every now and then he's going to give you 10 to 12 points because he's on the floor more, because somebody's in foul trouble, somebody might have gotten injured, whatever the reason is. He's going to play 20, 25 minutes that game, and he's going to give you some of that stuff. I caution people, be a little bit more patient with a guy who's trying to figure out where he fits into this. Let's see. Prentice jumps in and says that block Miles had was ridiculous, as well as Chaney's. But let's talk about Chaney Johnson, bro. Chaney Johnson is an absolute physical stuff. This is the 3rd game that he's blocked a 3-pointer on a closeout. His closeout ability is just like, he just gives max effort all the time. He is Chris Moore with more athleticism, just all out effort all the time. Like, just consistently giving you nothing but effort. A little reachy sometimes on defense, but man, I love Chaney Johnson and his game. I love what he brings to this team. He is an absolute physical freak. He is an absolute dog mentality of like, now he's gotten back to that I can kill anybody who's in front of me type of mentality, where it's like, all right, cool, get it to me down the post, and I'm going to go get you a bucket real quick. He's very confident in that turnaround fadeaway shot, because he's got the athleticism to be able to jump with that. And he likes the floater in the lane, but he's gotten his confidence in his ability to take those shots against any defender. I'm loving what Chaney did. Only 8 points tonight, but 4 of 6 shooting, super efficient. He gives you another only 5 boards. I mean, so 8 points, 5 boards, 2 assists with only 1 turnover. Adds a block and a steal to that. Like, that's just a very solid contribution for a guy, that only played tonight 18 minutes. So love what Chaney Johnson's doing for this team this year. And he's just kind of being what they need him to be at moments. When they need him to score more points, he's been scoring more points. He's doing a good job of locking down. Really, they're asking him to switch everything. Like, Chaney's one of the few guys that they're switching everything. They're switching him on the bigs. They're switching him on the guards. Doesn't matter. He's switching everything. And he's giving you that versatility on defense to be able to do that, right? Like, the other bigs, Cardwell and such, they're only switching late clock situations and trying to, like, bother the guards out there. Cheney is an automatic switch pretty much every time that he gets into action. They're playing a lot of drop coverage or hedge and recover with the other bigs. Cheney's a straight up switch, and he's doing a really good job on whomever he gets switched out on because he's got the strength to be able to bang with the bigs. He's got the athleticism and the quickness to be able to stay with a lot of guards. And then his recovery speed is really good if he does get taken. So love what Chaney Johnson brings in his versatility out there. Let's see. Dylan Cardwell, solid game, 5 of 6 out there. Make both of his free throws, 3 assists on the night. Only 1 foul for Dylan Cardwell. That's a crazy number for him because he's good for getting in foul trouble. Only guy that was really in foul trouble tonight was Chris Moore. He had 4. But just an overall really good game. Everybody had a positive plus minus on the night. I'm not going to get into any advanced statistics on this one. This is a game Auburn was supposed to win, and they did their job. So, yeah, that's it, man. I'm going to get out of here. It is a Monday night, so we got more content coming for you guys later on this week. Before y'all get out of here, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share the content with somebody else. Again, we'll be back at you guys with more great content later. But until the next time, and as always, War Eagle.